All right, staff, you can see I don't have the handbook, the staff training guide with me right now, is because I want to talk to you about something that is not in there. And this is the idea of gray areas. Our rules, our laws, our policies, our structures are designed to be able to handle the gray areas. They are textbook. And you went to college, or most of us went to college. I didn't finish college, but you went to high school, and you know that most life situations, most things that you come across in the real world are not textbook. There's sometimes, in a rare case, you'll get a textbook example of how to go about this situation or how to handle this. But most things in life, in ministry, in leadership, are not textbook. And there's only so far that a handbook, that a manual, that training can take you. Eventually, experience will have to just take over and be able to walk you through getting and managing the gray areas. But a lot of us don't have a lot of experience. I don't have a lot of experience with a lot of things, including, how to handle some student situations and when things come up, how to walk through them. It's just part of life as we go and we learn. And so there are these gray areas sometimes where it's not in the textbook, it's not in the material of how to handle this, but we also don't really have maybe much experience to be able to know how to move forward because it's not in the textbook, we've never encountered it before. Some of these gray areas are what to do when you see the couple in the back row of the youth room who have their hands all over each other and they're all snuggly and they're, we're all trying to worship and praise God and they have their hands not in the air but somewhere else, those students in the back row, right? That's a gray area. That's not in the textbook, but it's something that's like we can't just, how do we proceed there? Or when it comes to, walking a student through, the divorce of their parents. Many of us come from great families where there was no divorce. I happen to come from a divorced home, and there's things like that where we're under-equipped to be able to handle these kind of things. There's a lot of gray areas in ministry, and to be honest, I can't spend the next time in this video walking through every gray area and here's what to do. What I can do is give you a couple principles. So there are a couple things that you should know about gray areas. And the first thing is that we have a couple of guidelines for student conduct. Now I'm picking this back up. They are in the back of this book. They are on page 32. At all times, and if you come on a retreat with us or a camp with us, you've probably heard these. At all times, we want students to respect the people, respect the place, be in the right place at the right time, and make wise choices. And if students abide by those four things, hopefully everything will go pretty smoothly. But sometimes students misinterpret these or don't really know what they mean, blah, blah, blah. And things just happen that are kind of off the textbook and off the grid. And so how do we handle those? Well, if it falls outside of these rules, it's just a matter of conversation. Talk to a fellow youth staff member, talk to your co-leader, talk to me, talk to Jill, and we'll figure out the best way to move forward. And we might handle there might be two identical situations with this student and with this student, and because of the certain scenarios and circumstances that happen over here, we're going to make this decision, and because of the certain situations, scenarios that happen over here, we're going to make a different decision. And so we're not going to make the same decision for different students every time, based on the scenarios and situations. We're just going to take it one day at a time, one student at a time, because there's so many great things, there's so many variables that we just sometimes don't know how to handle. And so a lot of times the best thing we can do is talk to each other, pray about it, dialogue about it, and then do the best thing that we know how to do. Just figure out what an excellent leader would do and then do it. And it may not be fair, we may not handle all the situations the same way, but you know what? That's just how it's going to be. Because gray areas are just that, gray. They can't really be too defined. But if you run into a conversation or a situation with students that you feel like, oh, this is a gray area, and you've got to make a decision right then and there about what to do, make a decision, and I will back you up in front of the students. If you make a decision and you tell, there's two students back there in the back row and they're hardcore making out, and you as a leader, you just decide, well, you know what, they can just keep on making out. That is the best way to handle the situation. I'm obviously exaggerating here. But if that's what you decide in that moment, then in public, right then and there, if I have to, I will back you up. Just know as leader, I will always have your back. But then, when the situation's over and we've kind of had a chance to dialogue and debrief about it, we'll figure out the next time okay, well, one, how to make corrections based on the way things unfolded this time, but we'll also figure out how to do it better next time, and we'll gain a little bit more experience in how to handle those situations. And so just know that as a leader, if you make a decision in a gray area situation, and even if it's not the same decision I would make, I'm going to back you up. I'm going to have your back in front of the group, in front of the students. I'm going to say, yep, that's what your youth staff said. They are your youth pastors, and so I'm going to back them up, and I've got your back 100% of the way. And then later on, if there's things we need to dialogue or figure out or talk about, we'll figure those out. We'll get some experience, we'll get some wisdom, we'll get some dialogue, and make a better choice next time. Kind of clean up a little bit of mess that maybe we made from our decision this time. But just know I will always have your back publicly. I will be your biggest fan in public and an honest critic in private. Just like I hope for my leadership and for this ministry, you will be the biggest fan in public and an honest critic in private. So just know in the gray areas, we just figure things out as they come. And the more and more experience we have with these, the more and more experience we'll get, and the less and less gray areas there will be going forward. But just wanted you to have a good expectation that sometimes there are going to be things that just happen that aren't in the textbook, and we just got to figure it out.